Hey, what's going on, Steeler Nation? This is your man, Big B, Brian Hanley, and welcome to Steelers Almighty Scouting Report, breaking down the Steelers' 13-6 victory yesterday. After the raw emotion of the game has kind of worn off a little bit, went back, did a little deep dive, and found out that maybe there were some things that the Steelers didn't do as bad, and there's some things that maybe they did do worse than what we thought on another side of the football. So let's take a look and see exactly where the Steelers are at and what I graded each position group, including coaching, against that on that win against the Broncos. Let's dive into this report card. So first thing first, on the offense, Justin Fields. I didn't think Justin Fields, you're going to look at numbers and see 13 for 20, 117 yards and think, okay, they're dinking and dunking. They're not doing a lot. But if people that actually watched the game, Justin Fields was fine. Again, the play calling got conservative. They didn't ask him to throw the ball down the field that often, which I think we're going to need to see him do that a little bit more, especially coming up this game coming up against the Chargers. So we're going to need him to throw the ball down the field more, um, open up the playbook a little bit more. I'd like to see more Justin Fields runs, quarterback run game, some read option stuff. This is things that he does well. Allow him to do that. Put it in the playbook. I just want to see more out of him. Having said that, he wasn't bad. He really wasn't. Again, when you get some touchdowns called back on you, and he had one called back, another long play. I mean, he had several throws that he made, and because holding penalties and penalties in general, which was a nightmare, his numbers don't look good. But again, if you watch the football game, you will know Justin Fields was not bad in this football game. He just wasn't. So if there's anybody out there trying to tell you that he played bad, the only thing you need to say is you didn't watch the game, did you? Because if you did, there's no way you can come out saying that Justin Fields was bad in this football game. Just wasn't it. I give Justin Fields a B on the day. Like I said, I thought he played fine. I thought he played fine. It was above average, to be honest with you. It wasn't an average game. It was above average, especially what he actually did. He can't control the penalties, man. You can't hold him accountable for that. And getting behind the sticks the way that they did, you can't hold the quarterback accountable for doing that. If he was taking 5 or 6 sacks and something stupid like that, then you could say, okay, but that's not what happened. It's just not what happened. He played a good game yesterday. Moving on. The running back game. Look, they just need more opportunities. They need more opportunities. I'll go with a B with the running back group. Najee Harris and Jalen Warren were fine. I mean, what? Najee averaged 4.1 a carry. Jalen Warren averaged 4.7. I mean, is there anything else that you're asking for out of the running backs? You know, Cordell Patterson got in for 2 carries, which again, I'm fine. I need more Jalen Warren than I want to see Cordell Patterson. And I think we would have seen that against the Falcons. I don't think Warren was all the way healthy. A little bit more healthy this week. Yeah, get him on the field. But I'd like to see some more opportunities for both of them in the running and the passing game. Definitely want to see Warren get in the screen game a little bit more. I don't know why we're not using the screen game at all. But again, we were getting behind the sticks and in places that you could use the screen game, 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6. We're not doing that because we kept getting penalties. But I thought the running backs, for what they did, catching the ball, blitz pickup, all that kind of stuff, they were just fine. Give me a B for the running backs. I could venture to B plus, but I'll be conservative. I'll just say a B. As far as the wide receivers, it's tough to grade because again, not enough opportunities. 13 completions. There were some wrong routes being run out there by a few guys. We didn't really see any drops. I'll give it a C just because I'm going to err on the side of the second receiver and not having one was evident in this football game. Now, again, you can't, I mean, the penalties just got in the way, sustained drives, all that kind of stuff. But against teams that have an offense that can score some points, look, we love our defense, but not going to hold people to 6 points every week. That's just not sustainable. We're going to have to move the football and we're going to have to move it through the air. and I just haven't seen enough. I love that they went to Darnell Washington on a back shoulder fade in the end zone. You're damn right I am. And there's a whole lot of Steeler fans out there that love that as well. Absolutely love it. Lonnie split him out. I mean, look, what is he, 6'7"? Damn near 300 pounds. Get out of here with that 265. Darnell Washington's not no 265, man. He's a minimum 285. And for him to be able to move and do stuff like that, I mean, I know Steeler fans have been just screaming for that since he got here. Well, they finally did it. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. You know, and he doesn't have to run a 40-yard go pattern for you. Okay. What you used him for is just fine. I loved it. I'm going to go see with the grade with the wide receivers. And some of you are going, come on, B, you're being too difficult. I get it. Um, but I just know that we got to have a second guy. Somebody's got to step up into that role. Or is it really just a matter of wait until Roman Wilson gets back and he's the second guy? You know, haven't seen enough out of Van Jefferson. Haven't seen enough out of Calvin Austin. We saw more than we did the week before, but we got to keep going. We just need more. We just need more. We needed more Pat Fryermuth yesterday as well. I'll blame that on play calling and say we didn't try to utilize the middle of the field like we should have. At some point, we're going to have to do that. So I'll go see there. Offensive line. Look, I can say whatever you want it is for me to say about the offensive line. I know the first emotional thought is F. They got an F. They were terrible. You know, they all these holding penalties, jumping offside, Broderick Jones, what the hell's he doing? It wasn't as bad if you go back and look. Again, I just told you that Najee Harris and Jalen Warren averaged 4.1 and 4.7 running the football. Now, Warren had a one big long run, on it was, what was it, 3rd and 23, and he had one long run, which helps the averages. But if you go by what Najee, 4.1 is not bad, people. And so I understand. I get it. But it wasn't all horrendous by the offensive line. It was not all horrendous. Now, having said that, offensive line gets a D because I don't care what these penalties, these holding penalties, and I went back and watched. The Steelers were holding. Okay? Don't get me wrong. They didn't call holding the same way against the Broncos like they did us. Clearly, they didn't do that. But it isn't because the Steelers weren't holding. I mean, the plays that they called, I mean, they got us. They red-handed. You have to stop. And look, and I'll probably, when we go over the coaching, I'm going to say this again, so I apologize. We cannot continuously blame Mike Tomlin for every single thing that goes wrong on the football field. Everything that goes wrong can't just be Mike Tomlin's fault. And you all know me. If Mike Tomlin's to blame, I will blame him. I will call Mike Tomlin out in a heartbeat. But guys holding on the football field, tell me why you're blaming the head coach for that. Whether you think the play call is conservative or it's aggressive. None of those plays say, we need you to hold. We're asking you to hold on this play. None of that. So you can't just blame coaching when guys are continuously committing penalties. Now, you might say they need to be coached up better. Okay, I'll go with you on that route. But even if you're coached up better, there's no part of it that's saying, hey, man, you need to go out and hold on this play. Maybe it's just the guy had a bad game. Maybe the line just had a bad game. We've got to leave some latitude there for that to be the case. We can't always blame coaching, man. Whether you love Tomlin or you hate Tomlin or whatever, you just can't always blame the coaching. Sometimes it's the players. And in this game, I'm going to say it's the players. You just got to be better. That's all. That's all. It's just be better. That's all you got to do, man. That's all you got to do. I know some people, well, if you coach them up and they're in better position and their footwork works better, you're right. I'm not even going to argue with you. You are exactly right. But you also have to leave the room. But maybe they did coach them up and they're just holding. Maybe they just had a bad day, man. Maybe it's just a bad day. So as good as the offensive line looked last week, it was bad this week. It was bad. But it is what it is. I give them a D. I gave them a D. Now, as the offense overall, I think the C is a fine grade. Like I said, the offensive line was bad. The receivers were just okay. Skill positions were okay. They're okay. But everything goes into it. Play calling as well. There might be some people that say B. How do you give them a C, Big B? It should be a D. Maybe. Maybe you're right. But I'm going to err on the side of take it collectively overall. Because again, if you could venture to say that Justin Fields was a B plus because he played well. He made the plays down the field. Them getting called back is not his fault. I mean, he made several plays, not his fault. And on those plays, the offensive line let you down with holding penalties and other stupid, like again, an offensive pass interference penalty. BS. It was BS. I don't care what anybody says. Man's running his route. I don't have to allow the defender to run past me. I'm still allowed to run my route. If he runs into me, that's his fault. How the hell is that pass interference? It's nonsense. He might have the intention of making a pick, but if I just am running a route, I'm allowed to run a route the last time I checked. Officiating was bad. I get it. Overall, for the offense, I'm going to give it a C. I'm going to give it a C. Let's move to the defensive side of the ball. A lot of people, y'all are going to be surprised by some of this. But I can just tell you, defense overall, everybody, I'm giving D-line, linebackers, and secondary, everybody got the same B plus. Now, before you say you have no idea what you're talking about, you don't know ball, all the nonsense, that get that out of your system and then go back and actually look and figure out what happened in this football game. First off, we can start with the secondary. Secondary gets a B plus just for the simple fact Bo Nix threw for a lot of yards, 246 yards. Now, it's Bo Nix. He's not very good. And for him to be able to throw for that many yards, I don't like it. Not to mention the receivers for Denver. Is anybody any good? Like Cortland Sutton had one catch yesterday. One. We let Josh Reynolds get loose for 93 yards. I get it. One of them plays was for 46 yards on a trick play, but it happened. He still was running behind our defense. That happened, you know. And to be honest, it was a Mickey Mouse trick play at that. So, 246 to that team, that's too much. That's too much. I know that maybe I'm being a little bit more difficult, but as good as our defense is, and as bad as their passing offense is, 246 yards was too many. That's about 65 yards too many to allow to that football team. I'll be quite frank with you. Now, the defensive line, I thought they played well. The linebackers both played well. Look, everybody, like I said, everybody gets a B plus because we didn't allow them to run the football. That much I do know. I mean, what they have, 77 yards rushing? You know, couple couple runs were 12 or 13 yards. Other than that, they didn't do anything on the ground, which you knew they were going to try to establish a ground game. That's why the D line and the linebackers played so big. Yes, do I need Patrick Queen to make more tackles? I understand that. But the Steelers are also playing against a team. Our safeties are making a ton of tackles down in the box. But again, they are also making tackles, guys catching the football. So we got to tighten that up a little bit. And that's penny pinching. I get it. I totally get it that I'm being too strict on the defense. But Mike Tomlin said it. I expect a lot because I know they're capable of doing a lot. And I'm the same way. I think this defense is a top 5 defense. We're going to play better offenses than what we played yesterday. And I mean, and it's coming up this week. So we're going to see. But I just give it a B plus all across the board for the defense. Like I said, good effort. Didn't allow them to establish the run. Got after the quarterback. I mean, and we did. We 2 sacks. Got Alex Highsmith. Come on, man. Come on. How good has Alex Highsmith been this year, people? How good has he been? We were screaming for Nick Herbig to get on the field. And Nick Herbig, again, did get on the field and caused a big holding penalty. But how good has Alex Highsmith been? I mean, I'm just saying. A lot of us even myself said, hey, maybe we'll move on from him next year if Nick Herbig has a good year. We don't even know if Nick Herbig's going to have a good year because he can't get on the field enough because Alex Highsmith is playing lights out football. Good for him. Good for him. And then TJ Watt, I don't think we need to talk about anything TJ Watt. The only bad thing that I will say about the defense as a whole, Joy Porter Jr., you got to stop grabbing, man. You got to stop grabbing. We talked about it last week. I know people have talked about it over and over again. You got to stop grabbing. I don't care. There's nobody that should be getting that kind of separation from you on the Broncos receiving core where you got to grab and hold and all this. Come on, man. 2 times we could have gotten off the field and you're out there grabbing and holding. You got to stop. You're better than that. Be better than that. If you're going to talk like you're better than that, it's time to be better than that, especially against a team that you should have just been able to shut down completely. So, I don't know. Special teams. I mean, is it anything but an A plus? I mean, Boswell, again, lights out, another 53-yarder. I mean, it just makes it just like walking down the street. This guy's knocking in 50-yard field goals. It's kind of the theme around the National Football League these days, though, is that 50. Y'all remember when 50-yarders used to be you know, every once in a while type of thing? Now it's, hey, we're within 55 yards. Yeah, we'll kick a field goal, no problem. No, you even see play callers get conservative because they're like, oh, yeah, we got a 55-yarder in the bag. No big deal. Like, Lord have mercy. And the Steelers are no different. We are no different. When we were up 10-0 and Boswell kicked the 53-yarder, it was 3rd and 3. I was so mad. I'm like, why are we running the football here? Because at first I thought, okay, if we're running it, we're going to go for it on 4th down. And then they trotted out Boswell. I'm like, we didn't even try to go for the first down. But I think by that point, I think the coaching staff and Tomlin had just said, we don't think we're going to give up 13 points to Denver. It is what it is. This game is over. If we make this field goal, the game's over, and that's it. So Boswell did, again, 2 for 2, did his thing. But more importantly, Corliss Waitman averaged 53 yards a kick. Now, he had 3 touchbacks. I don't necessarily like that, but he had 2 inside the 20. He had a long of a 58-yarder. I mean, and let's just be honest about the punting game. After what we had to suffer through with Harvin, is if you can just kick the ball consistently 45 yards, we would take that. I mean, Lord have mercy. So anything we got, it sucked that Johnson got hurt. That was absolutely horrible. However, if the punting game can keep up like this, I like it. I like where we're at. And then, look, the coaching, it was a Mike Tomlin special. Now, I mentioned at the very beginning that some of you are upset again with the conservative play calling. We got to open it up on offense. We can't. This way of winning is not going to be sustainable. You're right. You're not going to get an argument from me, man. You're just not, because you're right on all of those accounts. Anybody who believes that. However, you can't blame Mike Tomlin for all of the penalties. You just can't. You have to be able to put the blame on the players that are committing. For instance, at the end of the game, Dan Moore gets a holding penalty where the guy literally just runs right around him. Well, how's that Mike Tomlin's fault? Now, you could say, well, we should have a better player out there. Well, who's it going to be? Broderick Jones? You want him out there? Okay. So that's all I'm saying is that, and you can even say, well, they got to coach him up better. At some point, you're right. They do have to coach him up better, but players also have to make a play. You know, I know that we only think of skill position guys out there that are playmakers making plays. Linemen make plays all the time too. And sooner or later, you just got to make a play. Okay. So the coaching, I don't know, man. I give it a B. I'm not going to bash Mike Tomlin for this football game. I know there's going to be people out there. When there's a time to bash Mike Tomlin, I promise you, all the Mike Tomlin haters, I will be in your corner. This is just not that game. Just not this one. Not this one. You know, there'll be a time, but hopefully not. But if there is a time, then I'll be in that corner and we'll all bash him together. But not after this one. Yes, the play calling on offense was conservative, no question we're going to have to open it up. But the one thing about it is we won. We won the game. I talked about the defense and some of the things that they didn't do. Well, defense still only gave up 6 points and they took the ball away in the scoring area. They did that. I can be upset about how, yeah, well, the coverage wasn't spectacular against a group. Look, everybody coming into this game, we were worried that, you know what, this is the game the Steelers usually lose. We play against a team that's not as good and we let our guard down. Well, it didn't sound like that and it didn't start that way. And if we get the big play to Pickens that doesn't get called back because Broderick Jones is holding, I think the Steelers score there. They got a touchdown taken off the board, which I think the Steelers score again. We get that, and then maybe the game's a blowout. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing those opportunities out there to you. So I don't know. The coaching, like I said, give me a B on the coaching, and the overall for the team, give me a B minus for everything altogether. Because again, the game was won. The defense played great, good, not great, not like they did in Atlanta. The defense played good. Offense leaves a lot to be desired on the offensive line. This is not one of their better games. Um, and the All 22 is going to tell you that this was not one of their better games. James Daniels, ugh. But that's okay. That's okay because we got out of there with the win. Clean it up. Let's go back to next week. Hey, man, I appreciate everybody joining in on Steelers Almighty, everything that you guys have done for our channel so far. We appreciate it. We love the support. Remember to continue to like, follow, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and leave those comments as you guys love to do. I appreciate it. We're 2-0, people. I know, 2-0. Hasn't been pretty. Not pretty football, but it could be ugly football, and we could be losing, and we haven't yet. Just keep that in mind. Appreciate you guys. Love you. Till next time. Aloha.